The movie opens with a heartbreaking scene where the boy's mother and sister are executed by a gang leader. This moment leaves a deep scar in his heart that he can never forget. Later, the boy emerges from underground in the middle of the night. He had been buried in a fake grave, not to be killed, but to strengthen his spirit. Suddenly, a mysterious shaman appears and buries him again. The boy spends his days and years in brutal training, learning how to use a machete and firearms. He gains total control over his body and mind through strict discipline and intense exercises that no ordinary person could endure. His daily routine, shaping him into a future avenger, is mixed with warm memories of his mother and his little sister Mina, whom he loved playing video games with, walking through the streets, and visiting secret spots like the statue of Hilda van der Kooi, the woman who ran the gang in the city. When he goes to the market to sell the cabbage he grew himself, he runs into the police and shows them a card saying he's deaf and mute due to trauma. The training continues even as he grows older and stronger, yet he still loses every challenge against the shaman. One time, when he's close to winning, he hallucinates his sister Mina, loses focus completely, and that's enough to turn the fight against him. Alongside combat training, the shaman also teaches him to smoke certain substances meant to heal his spirit. That magical smoke might be the reason he keeps seeing Mina. At the market, a kind flower seller gives him a rose, but when he finds out she's a fan of the singer Glenn van der Kooi, he angrily throws it away. The police arrive at the market to stage a glass-based performance directed by Gideon van der Kooi, which feels a lot like something out of the Hunger Games. The government wants to select 12 people at random and execute them live on air as a warning, especially after a past uprising against the van der Kooi family. People are dragged from their homes and gathered in the square, and the boy watches the event with the shaman. Suddenly, screams erupt from the crowd. A furious performer grabs a weapon and accidentally kills someone, sparking chaos. The crowd pushes back against the police, and one man tries to attack Glenn with an axe, but a female officer named June steps in and saves him. Gideon then kills the wounded man, and a massacre begins to crush the rebellion. The shaman tries to stop the boy, but he decides to step in. He sneaks into a Van der Kooi vehicle and hides in the trunk, where he finds a fresh corpse, but that doesn't stop him from seeking revenge. When the vehicles reach a warehouse, he gets out and overhears Melanie talking with Gideon and Glenn, reading their lips to understand them. However, his hallucinations distract him, allowing the gang to escape. Inside the warehouse, he imagines his sister dressed like a ninja and tries to save her from danger. Glenn and the guards spot him, and a brutal chase and fight break out. The boy uses everything he's learned, breaking bones, stabbing with knives, and dodging bullets with incredible agility. A chained worker named Basile throws him a gun with no ammo and offers to help him escape if he frees him. The boy agrees and fights off the guards while Basile looks for a way out. He shows off impressive combat skills, taking down enemies even while sliding through pipes. As they try to escape, one guard regains consciousness and attacks them, feeling no pain due to drugs. He keeps fighting despite his injuries and even bites the boy. The boy struggles for a moment, but eventually manages to cut off the guard's arm and finish him off. After dealing with the guards, the boy faces another armed man. During the shootout, Basile gets injured but manages to threaten Glenn and reveal crucial information. Hilda hosts an annual family dinner tied to the selection ritual, and Glenn can lead them there. In his weakened state, Basile accidentally drops an anvil on one of the gang members. In the end, the boy uses everything he has learned to defeat the remaining guards, continuing his path toward revenge. After he finished, he went to his friends Basile and Benny, who were planning the annual family dinner operation hosted by Hilda. On the night of the dinner, the rebels headed to the Van der Kooi mansion and took out the guards. Basile and Benny dressed up as guards, while the boy disguised himself as a chef and slipped into the house posing as a pastry maker, even taking a moment to snack on cookies with Mina. Once he confirmed that Hilda was among the guests, he kicked off his revenge plan. He went to the kitchen, changed his clothes, and picked a fight with the other workers, signaling to them to get ready to be peeled, using sign language since he's deaf and mute. By the way, his name in the movie is Boy. He started using whatever tools were around him, attacking them with a grater, and after taking down a guard, he decapitated Hilda in one clean strike, raising his hand in victory. But that moment didn't last. It turned out the guests weren't actually the Van der Kooi family. The whole thing was a trap set by Gideon, and everyone there were hired actors. As Gideon explained his plan, he almost managed to capture the boy, but the boy dodged an incoming attack from Jones, who had been in disguise. Fighting on his own after the others left, a girl stepped in as a very tough opponent, and the fight kept going. He tried to grab her with a painful move but failed. While spinning, he grabbed a cookie to restore his energy like in video games, then burst through the door. In the hallway, he grabbed the family sword to match against an axe. During the fight, Jones's helmet flew off, and suddenly the boy started hallucinating again. That hesitation cost him the fight, and he fell down the stairs, losing consciousness. He flashes back to how the shaman once lowered him from a tree where he had been hanging by a rope next to his murdered mother and sister. He wakes up tied to a chair, trying to figure out who sent him. Gideon tells him that Hilda created a test to counter the shaman's secret techniques and eliminate the rebels. But she became paranoid and terrified for her life, eventually locking herself away in a hideout. Then Melanie shows up. After seeing the captive, she takes him to be used as part of the test. The boy is brought to a studio for a staged show, tied up on stage with an electric collar around his neck. After a while, Hilda comes out to deliver a powerful speech, but when she sees the boy, she gets nervous and goes off script. When Hilda pulls out a rifle, Melanie doesn't step in to help her relative. The show begins, with stage sets appearing along with the chosen victims. Behind them, clowns dressed like pirates, similar to children's show performers, start executing the prisoners. The boy remembers that Gideon had slipped a razor into his pocket, so he uses it to cut himself free and tries to help the prisoners. But from the control room, they activate the electric collar, dropping him to the ground in shock. Guards drag him onto a platform, and an executioner wearing a goat mask appears, holding a hammer and raising it to strike. But instead of hitting the boy, the executioner attacks the guards. After taking out the pirates, he removes the goat mask. It's Basile. Then Benny shows up, and the fight erupts again. Basile explains that after their failure at the mansion, they disguised themselves as guards, followed the Van der Kooi family to the studio, and took out the killer clown before the show started. Basile hands the boy a knife with a built-in gun, and the three of them start taking down clowns and guards. Every punch is backed up with gunfire. Melanie watches everything through the cameras, not realizing she's been betrayed, and then points her weapon at her brother. The boy and his allies keep eliminating the killers, not hesitating to use guns against the boss, who looks like a pirate captain wielding swords. They use knives and even a piece of an eye sculpture as a weapon, then reload and finish him off. At that moment, Melanie appears with a rifle. Benny saves the boy but suffers a fatal wound. Basile fires back but gets shot as well. Furious, the boy charges at Melanie, using the stage props as cover, and ties her up in front of the cameras. After that, he threw the device and smashed the lens and the head while carrying the injured Basile. The boy headed for the door, but in the hallway a new group was waiting for them. He jumped into a fight, distracting the enemies as chaos and a brutal battle broke out. While fighting, he thought about all the loved ones he had lost. When it was over, he realized there was one more person dead, someone who had succumbed to their wounds. Near the control room, the boy found Melanie and Gideon, who had been shot. Gideon told him that Hilda had been moved to the hideout, and gave him a keycard and an elevator key. When the boy took the elevator down, Hilda called him on a video feed, wanting to know why he was seeking revenge. Behind him was a drawing he had made as a child of his dead sister, the only thing he had left to remember her. Hilda was shocked and cut the call. When the elevator doors opened, a large group of guards was waiting outside with June, but it turned out Hilda had ordered them not to kill him. Inside, he saw photos of the Van der Kooi family, and one picture caught his attention. It showed him as a child with his sister Mina standing next to Hilda. Hilda approached the blood-covered boy, hugged him, and revealed that he was actually her son. The boy remembered how, when he was young, his mother handed him over to the shaman's family, the same shaman who had a role in his father's death, and ordered him, with her help, to kill them. He killed the shaman's children and his wife, but he couldn't bring himself to shoot himself because of the shock. He ran into the forest in terror, where the shaman later found him. At first, the shaman wanted to kill him, but then came up with a smarter plan, using drugs to make the boy believe that Hilda was the one who killed his mother and sister. He then burned the boy's eardrums and cut out his tongue with a heated rod. The boy was shaken as these memories came back, and then he looked at June, who turned out to be his sister Mina, still alive. Since Hilda didn't see any reaction from her son, she ordered her daughter to kill her brother. June started attacking him, but suddenly, without thinking, the boy raised his hand with a secret gesture, the 5-finger sign. June remembered how much she hated her mother as a child and saw her as a symbol of evil, so she turned around and struck Hilda in the head with an axe. After taking out the guards, the boy and his sister made their way outside, where many more guards were waiting. The siblings fought fiercely, carving a path through them while firing a huge amount of bullets. Suddenly, a fully armored sniper appeared with backup, and regular bullets had no effect on his armor. Behind him, the guards brought out a mounted machine gun. When the armored sniper ran out of ammo, the brother and sister used one of the enemies as a human shield to get close to the machine gun and take control of it. After finishing the fight, they escaped toward the elevator before another wave of guards could arrive. When they reached the exit, they saw signs of a massive battle in the garage. The shaman appeared, having come to make sure his trainee completed the mission. He ordered the boy to kill June, but when he refused, the shaman challenged her himself. June put on a helmet and attacked, but the shaman's skills were far superior. He was about to snap her neck, but the boy stepped in to defend his sister. Even so, the shaman was incredibly strong against both of them, easily overpowering them, targeting their weak points and open wounds, even biting during the fight. After knocking the boy unconscious with a heavy blow, the shaman turned to June and smashed her helmet with his head. Shards of glass got embedded in his head, which he then used as a weapon. He wounded the boy, but the boy got back up, fueled by rage, and attacked the shaman. Despite the hits he took, he ripped off the amulet from his neck, which had a bear claw, and used it as a weapon. The shaman was injured by the boy's speed but still struck back with powerful blows. Then suddenly, the boy saw visions of Mina as a child, who, in reality, had never died, and those visions helped him defeat the shaman and slit his throat. Exhausted, the boy collapsed beside him, then crawled toward the injured June. She told him to leave her and go, but he carried her and dragged her toward the exit, remembering how they once escaped the criminal family and went to play video games. And that's how the movie ends. Thanks for watching. Liking the video helps it reach more people, so don't forget to subscribe to the channel.